Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim, and our guest today is Shane. So Shane, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Shane Wieters. I'm down in Mission Viejo, California, which is Southern California, and I am the founder and CEO of Lost Wedge LLC and inventor of a golf accessory called the T-Clip.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm curious more about the T-Clip. Like, what is it exactly, and like, what gave you the idea to start this business?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of just a story of like my own personal just frustration with inconveniences on the golf course. So I got started in golf about 3 years ago. I had a career change. I used to be a store manager for Guitar Center for about a decade. And then I got out of that. I got into finance. I became a financial advisor. I just wanted to have a little more freedom, in my life. I've got 2 kids, and one of them's born the week of Black Friday, which is like a no-go for retail sales. So it was just getting difficult. I made the career change, and then they're all like, "Hey, do you golf? We're all going to go golf." And I said, "No, I don't golf." And they said, "Well, you got to in this industry because you're going to meet a lot of people." So I said, "Okay, cool." So they said, "Hey, hit this milestone and we'll get you a set." So I did, and I got a set, and then I went and I played my first round like ever in my life. Absolutely atrocious. Shot 126, lost 16 balls, but man, did I have like the time of my life, and I was just hooked, right? So I found myself going back, time and time again. And then I got to this point, and I don't even know why, but when you're on the tee box, you generally have your golf glove on, right? And you got your driver in the other hand. And, I was keeping my tees and ball markers and divot repair in my pocket. And so I would, struggle to get my glove at the entrance, like through the entrance of your pocket, right? And then when it's finally in there, you're fumbling around for a tee. And then when you pull your golf glove out, like your whole pocket comes out, right? And then you're still sitting over there, like awkwardly trying to pick a tee out of your hand while you're not trying to drop all the other stuff that's in your pocket. So I got over that. And so what I started doing, I said, okay, cool. I'll just put it up the side of my hat. I was just looking for a different solution. Where can I put these tees on me so I didn't have to keep going back to the cart or digging around in my bag or shoving my hand in my pocket? So I said, okay, next solution, I'll put up the side of my hat. But in California, it's hot. So I'm sweating out there on the golf course. I take my hat off. I run my hand through my hair, right? And I put my hat back on. And then I find myself on a tee box, and I'm like, dang it. I dropped my tee somewhere wherever I took my hat off, right? I just wasn't thinking. And so I was like, there's got to be a better way. And so I went online just like anybody else. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to buy something. And there was nothing. I couldn't find anything anywhere. There was no golf tee holder whatsoever that you could wear on your person, right? Like there was a couple like I saw like for the bag, but then my bag already had a tee holder in the side of it, but I'm not walking with my bag. It's on the cart.
Right.
The golf cart's got tee holders, but once again, it's in the golf cart. So I was just like, I'll make something. And I was like, I'll just make it. And actually, if you give me a second, I have it right here. So this right here,
Okay.
my original prototype of the T-Clip. And what it was designed to do is just slide up the side of your hat, right? But I realized immediately it's going to be really difficult to roll the edge because it's made out of stainless steel. And so having something consistently, the right size to hold that, it's like I would need machinery. I mean, it's doable, but not in the sense that I wanted, right? And so it expanded from that because, once it's on your hat, I don't want to take my hat off, put my tee back in, right? And so this whole notion of like, I didn't want to be fishing for a tee hole to put my tee in, right? When I found out, I'm just going to end up taking my hat off or whatever, right? So I was like, there's got to be a better way. And I already knew that, people were wearing ball markers on the brim of their hat. So I said, okay, maybe there's a play on that. And so, over time and different iterations, now the T-Clip was born, which obviously looks way better than my original version.
Yeah.
It's much more cleaner. It's still made out of stainless steel, but it allows me to create kind of like this lock and key sort of function. And then it just sits right there. So the more I started wearing it on the course, so before all that, filed my patents, submitted some trademarks, and just kind of really protected everything before I like launched it, because I said, hey, well, I've been in sales forever. People buy things based off convenience. How is it going to make my life easier? Not so much better, but easier, right? What's the benefit, right? And so the benefit is like, I'm not putting my hand in my pocket for anything, right? And then the design is just, it's a natural function to pull something like this, put it in
Yes.
your hands, twist and pull, and then just put it right back, and then when you got a tee that you can reuse, you don't have to put it in your pocket. I get so many people telling me about like the holes they get, the dirt left behind, stabbing their
Right, right.
fingers. The thing I hated the most was the divot repair tool that would just open in my pocket randomly, like the little switchblade ones. And then it's like now it's already embedded in my pocket liner, right? And then I have
Right.
to rip it out. So, as I started using it, I realized like, because I only designed it intentionally to be a magnetic golf tee holder, and that's what our patent's all about. I mean, it actually encompasses the 4-in-1, but the biggest
Right.
protection is the magnetic ability, and also I have it patented for the belt and waistband. So it's technically the only magnetic golf tee holder for your hat or your belt or waistband that you're going to be able to buy on the market, because that's one of our primary functions of that patent. And so, but the other functions I didn't really think about till I was actually on the course using it. I was like, okay, well, I've got tees in it. I see people fix their divots all the time with tees. So if you just hold like this, you can use it as a divot repair. And so I use it for that. And then being an amateur golfer, I don't know what's wrong with my eyes. I've always been told I've got perfect vision, but apparently they go like this because I can't ever see a straight line on the green. And so this actually really helps. If you're practicing your putting, it helps you see a better line, like off the ball. So you can actually really see like, hey, where's this really going to go versus trying to really imagine that little stripe off your ball to go farther, right? And then last but not least, I mean, a ball marker can technically, per the rules, be any shape or size. So you can slap this big bad boy down on the green and, it's a ball marker. But the best part
Awesome.
is it's just there. So
I love that. No, yeah, I
that's really
got
how I got into it, and like how it was ended up being, born. Like I said, it's just out of a silly inconvenience. And I originally made it just for myself, and then was just like, oh, hey, maybe I've got something here.
no,
So
it's cool. And then I guess like as of now, right? Like, do you sell it in golf shops, courses online? Like, how have you been kind of going about selling this product?
So to get out in the market, I built a website doing it on GoDaddy because it was affordable. I used their GoDaddy marketplace. It allowed me to tie into a couple other marketplaces, and it was a little slow, a little clunky. But I launched on TikTok because as I was doing research, this is like October 2023. All the research I found was like 70% of new brands were found on TikTok. So I was like, well,
Right.
got a best shot there, right? So let's do it. So I did that. And so that was really my only major market until I got on Amazon in like mid-November, because I had Facebook and Instagram, but they ended up getting hacked and it took me till January to get it back.
And
So
this was of so
this is
so
2023. Like
okay.
right after I launched, 3 days later, somebody hacked my Facebook and started running like bogus ads for like some affiliate link crap. And then it literally took me till January to get Facebook to give it back to me. And then because of all the stuff that they had done, my account kept getting blocked. I probably got blocked like 30 times throughout the year because any little thing I made change, they're like, oh, suspicious. So I mean, that's how I got there. Amazon did really, really well. And so then I went to the PGA show for the first time. I was in the inventor section. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's get some big bucks and that sort of thing. But that first show, it was a lot about like, I would say more brand recognition. Hey, here I am. Here's my brand. Here's my product. I had a ton of interest, but didn't have really a heck of a lot happening in the US like retail wholesale market. So a lot of it was direct to consumer. But then I did meet this one company who's kind of been my behind the scenes saving grace a little bit, but they're like an import export company that have just lists of distributors, and their whole premise is connecting manufacturers like me to the distributors, right? And so I've been able to meet with I've got two distributors in Poland, one in Oman, working on one in Turkey, and possibly one in Estonia. And we've kind of, the contracts I have with them are for basically all of Europe, all of APAC, which is Asia Pacific, and then also the Middle East. And the Middle East is, what we consider an emerging market. And you've seen how
Yes.
fast they built Dubai and all that stuff. Right now, that area's got about 300 golf courses, but give it another 5, 10 years, and they're going to have thousands of courses. They're probably just going to be
Right.
amazing.
So are these distributors, are they like setting up, like, are they like helping to sell your product in like a golf shop at a golf course? Or is it like a sporting goods, like a Dick's Sporting Goods type of store? Like,
Yeah, so
what?
their whole thing is they've got a bunch of like golf stores and connections with like their own pro shops or like resort shops. The guy from Oman, he runs the world's largest golf course, which is the Wave. So which is out in Dubai. I guess it's this mega course. So we're working, with them, and essentially what they do is they buy in bulk. So they get volume discounts, and then we give them a production window about 13 to or 16 to 32 weeks, really depends on how much they order, and then we just ship it off, and then they supply their stores
It's
and everything
awesome.
like that. And then last year also, we did like the PGA Buying Summit in Frisco at the Omni Resort out there, which is just amazing. And then we got invited to Golf Inc. Magazine. They have a strategy summit every year where they bring all the top, pretty much like the big wigs, everybody, the people that run the management companies that manage like hundreds of golf courses. So they all
Yeah, yeah.
they talk about the ins and outs of the business, what's working, what's not working. I had a chance to be there and represent my company. I sponsored the cart thing. So it's just all these events, while it's a big, big investment, the return isn't always immediate. It's still, in my book, one of the best things I can do, because it's just like I'm out there, hey, this is me, this is my product, this is my brand. And every time it's planting that little seed. It doesn't matter if they're not even related to buying, but just like talking to somebody that's into golf and showing them my product. It's like, hey, that's a seed planted. And over time, you're going to start seeing more people wear it. You're going to start seeing it on TV. You're going to start seeing it all over the internet. And then, but that seed was planted like a long, long time ago. And eventually you'll be like, hey, you know what? I'll buy one.
Yeah. Well, I think for you also, it's probably like a certain amount of education, right? Because you created this new product that's super unique. And I think, for somebody who's golfing and people who are starting out golfing, they might not even think that they need this product. But like once you kind of explain like it's like the benefits, like they'd be foolish not to buy the product. So it's sort of like that explaining piece, I'm sure I'm super important for you.
Yeah, no, and I agree, because I'll tell you, a lot of my retail experience has really helped where I'm at right now. In a lot of aspects, not just from like product design, but packaging. Obviously, customer service is it's a breeze for me because I've just done it my whole life. But
Right.
and then just like the sales aspect, and then the reason I say the sales aspect is 'cause when I'm at shows, these big shows like the PGA show. I just got back a couple of weeks from this year's one, which is incredible. We'll get to that in a second. But I do what's called door popping, and that's where you basically, somebody walks by and you just say something to spark their interest and to just get them to possibly come over and just see what you got, right? And the only reason my booths were busy the first time I showed up, or pretty much at any event, and even busier this time, is because I do that. People walk by and I just go, they do a little look, and once I get the look, I'm like, okay. So then I say like, hey, have you heard of the T clip? Because at this point, I want to see like how far is my reach, right? Have you seen it on social media? Have you at least heard about it? We've been around for about a year
Right.
and a half, like, and I'm from the West Coast, so now I'm on the East Coast. Have you heard of it?
Right.
And it's a great conversation starter, but it's like the moment that they just come over and look at it, and then the moment they figure out what it is, they're just like, wow, this thing's really cool. And to me,
Right.
that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, like I said, those people wouldn't swing by if I wasn't out there like
For sure.
hustling, I guess.
So I feel like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like most of your sales today, I know it's been like a year and a half, but like at this moment, are through these like retail channels or distributors, like the online presence is there, but it's not like a big focus for you.
Yeah, so I have, I would say it's about split 50-50. We have, our good direct to consumer business, and then we're building with distributors. And then after, actually this last round at the PGA show, we generated 100, I think over 100 more leads than we did the first year. And
Oh
the
wow.
first year we had an incredible amount. I mean, being in the inventor section, it's more of like they view it as like concept, so not necessarily like brought to market yet, which the reason I was allowed in there was because I'd only been selling for like 2 or 3 months. And
Right.
so they said, yeah, no problem. But being on the main floor generated over 100 more leads. So we met like 200 and I want to say like 60 individual people like that we traded contact information from. 44 of those were distributors in 16 different countries.
Wow.
And then the rest were a mix of like golf courses, pro shops, country clubs, resorts. I mean, I just want to say a golf course because I feel at the end of the day, like it's just there's like six different names for the same type of shop, right? So,
Yeah.
but what's different about them versus like getting a big box retailer like, Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that, it gives us the opportunity to customize it. So a lot of the interest was how can we brand your product with our brand? So I have a whole branding and customization guide that I send them, and essentially we change everything on it with the exception of just like our logo, like here and here. So we'll hand stamp the back with their logo. We'll change the tees out with their colors and their logos. We'll co-brand the tin. We do a couple other things too, but
So it's like a licensing play.
yeah, but they get one that's particular for their pro shop, their golf,
Yeah,
makes it unique.
that's
And in
cool.
that sense, they can sell it at a higher premium than our typical retail because
Right.
you can only get it there, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Like it's more of like it's also like something that, people need, but it's also like a novelty item and like a
Yeah.
souvenir.
Well, I mean, in every golf course you go to, I mean, they all have the same thing. It's just a ball marker or a golf ball with their logo on it.
Right.
Like, that's cool.
Right.
It's like you could get something that you could actually use, on the golf
Exactly.
course.
So what's your biggest focus now, Remy? We're still in Q1 of 2025. So what are you really kind of focused on for this year?
Well, so for to wrap up this quarter, we have 5 shows booked. So we did the PGA show. We've got 3 consumer shows, which are a good opportunity to just meet our customer face to face, explain the product, sell it directly to them. So I just got back on last week on Monday from Philadelphia, and then I'm leaving Thursday for Cleveland. And then I haven't solidified it yet, but there's another show next Thursday in Pittsburgh. So, and then after all that, I've got a booth at Japan's Golf Fair. So I'll be exhibiting at Japan's Golf Fair, which is like their version of the PGA show. And I've got some distributors that I'm meeting there that I met the PGA show out here.
Right.
So right now, the first quarter is, just a lot of follow-ups from the PGA show, trying to lock down those custom branded orders, meet with new distributors, and just really kind of set the tone for the rest of the year, because what's going to happen is, once all these orders come through, it's going to be more difficult for me to travel around and do all these events and shows. But, at that point, I might have employees that I'm going to be like, you're going to the show, you're sending all this stuff. But I would say it would be more of like a ramp up, machinery, supplies, fulfilling these orders, making sure we hit our service level agreements, and just,
Right.
you order 1,000 units from me and I give you a 3-week turnaround time. I expect them to be done in like 2.5 weeks. So,
Are you manufacturing here in the US or?
yep. So I do it all myself currently and it's not that I haven't been approached to manufacture at other places. Tons of Chinese people or vendors at the PGA show, like, I can make this for 25 cents. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I can't get on an airplane. I can't fly over to China whenever I feel like it and knock on the door of the warehouse and be like, oh, let me see what's going on in here, because what are they going to do? They're going to like hide the. This is probably, I'm not even going to go there, but there are a big chance of getting it knocked off if I'm getting
Yeah, exactly.
somewhere else.
Yeah,
Right?
it's true. I mean, I have friends in this. I mean, obviously, we're in the e-commerce space, so I think everybody's aware of what happens in China. Unfortunately, it's a big problem. So,
Yeah, and to be honest, like born and raised in America, like my first company when I was 18 was USA made. Everything I've ever tried to do has always been USA made because, I'm proud to be an American and I want to have an American company. I want to hire
right,
American employees because, why not? And to be
exactly,
honest, if I build my own factory, my own manufacturing factory, my costs go substantially lower because there's less middle people,
exactly.
taking little pieces of the pie, and then my quality just shoots to the roof because it's all in house.
Right, exactly.
So that's the goal, and that's what we're going to stick with. So I've had some US manufacturers come out, but it's like double my own cost right now to get them
Right.
made.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, you've been doing this for about like a year and a half now, as you said. So, if you could go back in time to before you started this business, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
well, I would say it's kind of 2 parts because like one, I say this, but I know if I go back in time, I probably wouldn't change anything.
Right, right,
I think it would be being more conscientious with the funds that I have available when I'm starting.
right.
And the reason I say that is because when I jumped into this, I had the company I'd worked for gone through a huge, like, I guess, restructuring. So a lot of people got laid off, and one of my position was one of those positions. But rather than jumping into, the same career, I was just like, I have severance, I've got, money in the bank, I've got some retirement, and I'm 36 years old. So, or no, I was 35. Yeah, 35. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to take a shot. And so I just went with it. And I'm really glad that I did. But not everything has always been amazing. I mean, there's been times
Right.
my account is more negative than I care to even want to look at. So, and then sometimes it looks really nice. So I wouldn't say it's about, I'd say better management of my funds, and I
Yeah,
think also
I
it's,
can resonate with that one for sure.
yeah, it's knowing that B2B shows are a huge investment. It's not just your booth costs, it's like electricity, you got to build the booth, you got to fly out there, you got to stay there. Lyft is going to cost you an arm and a leg unless you are renting a vehicle. So there's all these just add-on costs that you just don't think off the bat. You're like, okay, cool, the booth, it's 5 grand. All right, done. Then you go log in, you make your flight, you're like, ooh, that's like $800. And then you do your hotel, you're like, oh, that's like $1,200. And then you're like,
Yeah, the next thing you know, you're at like 10 grand. Yeah.
exactly, I think my advice for anybody is if you're going to do a B2B show, they're going to be really, really good. But there's two parts. One is they cost about 100 times more than what you think they do. So just go through all the boxes. What are you going to be doing? How much food you're eating? Where are you lifting? Like all that stuff, right? So you know what you're spending. And then the second part is B2B shows doesn't necessarily mean instantaneously large deals or any
Exactly.
instant deals. B2B is very much getting your name out there, having brand recognition, networking and meeting people and building that sort of relationship, because the other side of it is once you've bridged that gap and people feel comfortable with you, they
Right.
just order. They don't even think about it anymore. They're just like, oh, I need
Exactly.
G clips, boom, ordered, but it might take
Exactly.
you 6 months to a year to like build and cross that bridge with somebody. So
Exactly. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're a
Those things
smaller
take time.
brand, I would say consumer shows are really good because I'm not going to say they all pay for themselves like a lot of people do, but I'm sure after you've done it for like 2 or 3 years and you have more of an established name and established brand, then it just becomes like clockwork. People are like, oh, cool, Lost Wedge and the T clips here. I'm going to go get some stuff. So,
Exactly.
but it's more of like a instant feedback because your customer is going to tell you right there to your face what they think about your product, right?
Right.
Or, what things they're looking for. And I think that's also helped me a lot too, is just listening to feedback from any type of show. Like, oh, I know this is your baby, so I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but like, and then they'll tell you their 2 cents. But one, don't get offended, and two, listen to it because it's only made my product line better. So
Exactly.
I came out with the hip and the waist version simply because at my very first PGA show, people were like, oh, that's a really cool product. I just don't wear a hat. And then some people are like, I don't put things on my hat. So I said, okay, cool. Next year I'll have something for you. And I showed up exactly like I said with the new product. And so
Yeah. That's
which has
awesome.
actually gotten really popular. And then the last little thing I am releasing actually March 1st is response to everybody that says, the T clip is too big to be a ball marker. So I said, okay. So it's actually it's called the Duo clip. And on the bottom side of it is a little magnet and it holds a dime size ball marker. So it goes on the underside of your brim so that your whole package looks like that. It's still virtually weightless, but now you have a dime size ball marker that you can use rather than just putting this whole thing down.
Right. That's awesome. So if somebody watching this is interested in buying the T clip or wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way for somebody to find your business and or reach out to you?
Yeah, definitely. So everything online is just the T clip. So our website's thetclip.com. So TheTeeclip.com. And then all of our social media handles are just at the T clip. So I just make it super easy. And then same thing, we just actually upgraded our website about, I want to say a couple days ago, and we moved from GoDaddy. We're now on Shopify. Thank
Okay.
God. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was looking at your website. Like, it looks very nice. So
It's so much faster than my
very
original
clean.
platform.
Yeah.
And then everything connects to it. I mean, like even my QuickBooks, like my HubSpot for my CRM, like all the platforms. And then the best part about it is it gave me the ability to not only have my direct to consumer website, but if you want to sign up, it's got an application that you can sign up to be a wholesaler, a distributor or a drop shipper, and you'll get your own. So once you're logged in and I approve the application, you get your own shop page that has everything already at wholesale prices. And one of the other benefits of it is because, I am looking to be a global company, is that no matter where you're at in the world, it'll change the currency to your location, and in real-time conversion based off real-time conversion prices that are existing right there at that moment, and you can ship it to wherever you want in the world.
So, well, Steve, thanks so much for your time today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Of course.